Pitter-pat, pitter-pat, pitter-pat. Zebra pressed his face against the living room window and watched the rain come down outside. He had pushed Mr. Dorsey's favourite red armchair up against the wall and was kneeling on the armrest. Many people considered the rain to be boring, miserable weather, but Zebra knew how wonderful it could be. He loved watching the raindrops land in the puddles to make ripples and hitting the window to form rivers that meandered down to the bottom. What a world of wonder it is! As he gazed out upon the world, Miss Dorsey walked into the room and said, "Oh, it's horrible weather, Zebra, but I need to go out to post a letter. Would you like to come with me?" Zebra smiled and nodded enthusiastically. Miss Dorsey held out Zebra's red rain jacket for him as he put his little zebra arms in. He zipped it up and then sat on the floor to put on his big green Wellington boots. He grabbed the first boot firmly in his two hooves, held it up towards the ceiling, and thrust a hind leg into it so hard he rolled over onto his side. Miss Dorsey laughed. "Silly thing. I better help you with the other. Come here." Miss Dorsey opened the other boot for Zebra and guided his little leg into it, and then put his jacket hood up over his head and gave him a big kiss on his nose. They were ready to venture out. Miss Dorsey strode out in front, clutching her jacket and sheltering under her umbrella. Zebra followed behind, grinning from ear to ear and jumping from puddle to puddle. Kersplosh! Kersplosh! He would land two-footed into each one, causing a giant splash. As he landed in one, Zebra noticed a bright pink worm crawling on the dark grey pavement ahead of him. He bent down to have a good look at it. I can't see its face. It doesn't have any fur. I don't think it has a tail. In fact, I don't think it's very cute at all. Zebra got down onto all fours to go in for a closer investigation. He got so close that his nose was practically touching the ground. He watched as the worm wriggled his way along. I wonder where he's going, Zebra thought. Do worms need to post letters too? As he watched the worm crawling on its way somewhere, Zebra felt Miss Dorsey's hand on his back. "Come on, Zebra. If we stay out here much longer, you'll catch a cold." As they continued on to the postbox, Zebra noticed a man out walking his dog. The man looked thoroughly miserable, struggling to protect himself from the rain with his umbrella, but his dog looked far more happy. It was striding out in front, wagging its tail and smiling. Its fur was very wet, but it didn't seem to mind at all. Humans could do with learning from us animals, Zebra thought to himself. We don't mind the weather. It can be sunny, or rainy, or windy, but we will always be happy. It's an amazing world, and we enjoy every part of it. As they arrived at the postbox, Miss Dorsey looked down at Zebra and asked, "Would you like to post the letter?" Zebra took it in his hoof and stretched up on his tiptoes to reach the postbox, and he dropped the letter into the slot. "Thank you," said Miss Dorsey with a smile. She took Zebra by the hoof and they began to walk home. Zebra looked out for the worm he saw earlier, but there was no sign of it. Must be back home now, Zebra thought. I hope he made it to the worm postbox in time. As they arrived home and walked in through the front door, Zebra produced the most enormous sneeze. Only an animal with such a long nose can make such a noise. Achoo! Miss D'Orsay took his coat and hung it up, and then she went to the kitchen to begin making 2 cups of Earl Grey tea. As the kettle boiled, she stroked Zebra's hair and gave him a great big hug to keep him warm. Thank you for keeping me company, Zebra. I don't like the rain as much as you do, but I don't mind it when I'm out with you. Zebra smiled, closed his eyes, and hugged Miss D'Orsay's leg. As he stood in the kitchen with his arms wrapped around her leg, he thought, rain, worms, and now back home to sit with Miss D'Orsay and drink tea. How wonderful my life is. The end.